regarding payments, allowances to staff. We had a meeting the other week with His Excellency the Governor, and we have agreed we're going to remove all those allowances, and we were going to recover those that were paid irregularly.
Okay, fine. Now let's deal with specific things. We have been dealing with global issues. Let's see how you are dealing with ECD teachers and then casuals. Patrick?
Chairman, arising from what that submission by the HR director, yes,
CEO yes. Public Service Board.
Yes. He has said that they are going to recover what has been irregularly paid. But here you realize that from the report of 23-24, we had, the OAG had raised 27 paragraphs which are outstanding. Out of that, your committee gave 30 recommendations. And Chair, the auditors are saying they have circularized those recommendations to the entity, but they don't have a response. So when he says they are going to implement, Chair, maybe your committee can call upon them to respond to the report of 23-24 early enough before we do the report for 24-25.
Governor, can you confirm that you received from the Auditor General that matrix on Senate recommendations?
We did, Chair, and I think we have a status report on the same. Yes.
But the auditor says that you have not acknowledged receipts. I think it's important and formal to do the acknowledgement so that they know that you are working on the recommendations.
We will, Chair, because we have the report.
Fine. So you guys seem to know what should be done, but you are not doing it. That's a problem. You sound very knowledgeable. You have people who understand what should be done, but the evidence on the paper is different. Let's see how you are treating ECD teachers. Auditor General, you had some non-compliance on payment of salaries to ECD teachers.
Thank you, Chair. Non-compliance to salaries and remuneration guidelines for early childhood development and education teachers. Review of records revealed that 1,317 ECD teachers were paid special salaries amounting to 154 million shillings, 633,647. However, the teachers were not mapped into the correct grading structure based on their qualifications. This was contrary to the SRC circular referenced number SRC/TS/24/6 dated 13th January 2021, which requires ECD teachers to be mapped into the correct grading structure based on their qualifications. Further, the appointment letters outlined earnings broken down into basic salary, house allowance, and commute allowance. However, these were not properly mapped into the HRIS system, and the ECD teachers did not automatically progress according to established salary scales. In the circumstance, management was in breach of the SRC guidelines. Thank you, Chair.
Governor?
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Chair, the approved job evaluation, grading, and remuneration structure for the early childhood development and education teachers. 13 on my response, page 13 of 37. You're there? Okay. So, Honorable Chair, the approved job evaluation, grading, and remuneration structure for early childhood development and education teachers and caregivers, grade C1 through an SRC circular reference number SRC/TS/JE/CG/3/33/6, volume 30 of 10 December 2021, which is attached as Annex 4.1, has now been adopted by the county government of Bomet, that circular, and dated 2nd February 2024, which is also attached as Annex 4.2. The IBBD system and its successor, HRIS, as set up, does not provide for separate job grading model. This means that the job groups in the system is not equivalent and does not tally with the grading used in the scheme for surveys for ECD assistance. However, to ensure that the staff under this code are paid, the management adopted the use of special salary The management have since been in touch with the Department of Public Service Management for systems intervention that will ensure the staff in question are paid with proper earnings headings. So I will give to my CC to give further clarification.
I think let's first ask the Auditor General whether that response makes sense. Auditor General.
Chair, the issue has not been addressed.
Governor, when you talk of, let's just put this into context, because you have 1,300 ECD teachers. The teachers would have different qualifications. That's what the auditor is saying here. What would be those? Would there be degree holders, diploma holders, certificate holders? Can you explain it for us?
Correct, Chair. We have different categories. We have certificate holders, we have diploma, and we have degree.
They are supposed to be paid differently based on qualification.
As per the advisory that we receive from SRC.
So, for example, a degree holder who's an ECD teacher is entitled to how much? What gross salary?
140 minimum is.
Okay, as per the SRC.
Get a microphone, and for Hansard purposes, reintroduce yourself.
Okay, thank you. I'm the CC in charge of education. I'm Agnes Ngeno, the CC in charge of education, youth, sports, and vocation training. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Concerning the ECD teachers, we have 1,317. We have those who have the certificate. We also have those who have the diploma, and we also have those who are having the degree. As by the circular that you were given, that is dated 2021, December 2021, we were supposed to pay as by the SRC. And we also received another one that we were given in 2023, which was actually giving us that as by the counties to pay, depending on the availability of funds. As the county government of Bomet, we started paying them last year, 2024, whereby we started paying. We have not actually met the relevant or the minimum value that is supposed to be paid, but last year we started paying, whereby we have given the certificate, they are earning 16,364. We have the diploma, they are earning 317.
Sorry?
22,000 diploma, 22,317. We have the degree, they are earning 28,024. That is what they are earning last year. But the incremental month is January. So this year, 2026, the certificate will be earning 19,000. We put them in 3 phases so that by the end of beginning 2027, they will be as per what SRC requires us to pay. So in January 2027, a certificate holder will be earning 22,000. Which is the minimum as per the SRC.
So the auditor saying is that you have not mapped them into correct grading structure based on their qualifications, but you have explained that you are paying them differently based on qualifications. So where does that put this audit observation?
Okay, thank you, Honorable Chair. The auditor has actually mentioned that one, but we actually have the annex that you are actually, the circular that you are given. We also have the agreement that is, as we started, by the cabinet and agree. So we have also the schedule that we actually draft into 3 phases, whereby we have phase 1, 3,000, phase 2, we have also another 3,000, then phase 3, we have 4,000.
Was it the evidence you
Maybe
need?
let me assist her.
Yes.
The observation that was made the auditors is actually correct. Because when you look at the pay slip of an ECD teachers, it's just a figure aggregated into one. But it's expected that they should have house allowance, probably commuter allowance, and the basic salary. But how this system has been configured, when you pay less than the amount that is meant for that job group, how the system will treat it is just aggregate all of it to be one. But when you see the appointment letters, we have segregated into basic, house allowance, and maybe commuter allowance. So because we are underpaying our ECD teachers, that is why we have this problem.
Now, the evidence that we really wanted is even, something just to demonstrate that indeed a graduate ECD teacher in Bomet is earning 28,024, and this is the evidence, and a certificate ECD teacher is earning 16,364. Because when we read this audit finding, it gives the impression that whether it's graduate, diploma, or certificate, they're earning the same pay.
Not true, Chair. In fact, that's why I mentioned earlier on that we have made a lot of improvement, because when we came in 2018, irrespective of your qualification, the pay was the same. Certificate, diploma, degree. They were earning now 9,000? 9,000 flat.
9,000.
Irrespective of your qualification. But what we have done, as reported by my CEC, is currently we have 16,000 for certificate, 22,000 for diploma, and 28,000 for degree. And we are doing annual increment. We have 15 teachers degree. 15? Wow, degree, yes, 18. So by January 2027, they will be earning over 40,000. And then for diploma, they will be earning a minimum of 28,000. And then for certificate, they will be earning a minimum of 22. So it's only because we have been constrained by resources. Otherwise, they are entitled to this pay because that is the advisory that we have received from SRC.
Senator Wambua?
Chair, Governor, I think there are two questions there. There's a question of a grading structure based on qualification. Yeah? Certificate, diploma, degree. But there's a question of the breakdown of the earnings, where whether diploma, certificate, or degree, then there's a requirement that you break it down, basic salary, X amount of money, as allowance, X amount of money, commuter, all that. And I think those are the issues that are being queried. Have I received a proper response on that?
Yes. Yeah, I think I've responded to that. When you see the appointment letters for these teachers, that segregation is there. And even we have gone up to the people who are in charge of the system and requested, because the teachers have been complaining that they need to see their commuter allowance. They need to see their house allowance. So when we went to the people who are in charge of the system, they told us the problem is because you are underpaying your teachers. So once you're given a job group, your name is loaded to the system. It should be able to generate what you are entitled to based on your job group. Because we have not paid the minimum that is required for that job group, that is why we just have a kind of a lump sum value that is paid monthly to our ECD teachers. Otherwise,
that's okay, Governor.
Yeah,
Then,
yes.
then the other question would be the circular by SRC. Does it suggest a minimum, or it leaves it open-ended?
it suggests a minimum. And also, there is also a line where we've been advised, based on availability of resources, you can start where you can
What's
afford.
the minimum? Because this 16,000 sounds like minimum, the general minimum wage.
The minimum is 22 for certificate.
Certificate.
And then diploma is 28. Diploma is 30. 20,
Diploma is 28.
Diploma is 28. And then degree
It's 34.
34.
You know, Senator Wambua, we are getting something wrong as a society. These are the people who teach the most delicate, the most vulnerable, the most malleable. I look at my little child and I respect the teacher who teaches that boy how to write, how to count, how to speak. But you see, as a society, see how we are treating our ECD teachers. And I know it's not a Bomet problem, it's a societal problem. 28,000 is perhaps below the salaries that some of you pay for your house girls and even for your gardeners. And yet as a society, we have now normalized it, that these people who teach the most special age in humanity, we pay them 16,000. I mean, it's a salute to these people, these 1,300, that they can still report to work every day with this kind of pay. How I wish we could rethink this, and I think we need to have this conversation.
Tell me, just refresh my mind, because did we not develop a scheme of service for ECD teachers?
But you can see that it's still subject to SRC recommendations and subject to availability of funds.
I thought we had ECD bill.
We are treating, and this must be a national conversation on how we treat our ECD teachers. The other conversation would be to capitalize the expenditure on ECD teachers. Because I know that's where governors fear, that when they pay more, it increases their wage bill. But surely, of all the functions that are devolved, health, water, roads, for me the most special is early childhood education. Because you get that wrong, those children are lost for the rest of their lives. And that's a sacred duty that has been placed in the hands of governors.
Each year, the consideration for remuneration for ECD teachers, I don't think it will be proper for anybody to reduce it to a conversation about the wage bill. Much as we have to be careful about it, but there are other cadres of staff that earn a lot more and push the wage bills for counties. I want to agree with you, Chair. I think there is a need for a conversation, a serious conversation, about what counties need to do for ECD teachers, and actually the entire ECD program. That, you know, I meet governors and people working in county governments who talk about ECD centers, and when you go to visit the things that they call ECD centers, I mean, it's just classrooms. There are no centers at all. We need to begin to focus a lot more on laying up a better, stronger foundation for the education of our children.
Chair,
Senator Cherokee?
Maybe, in fact, I think Bomet is trying, because Nandi is worst in terms of handling ECT teachers. In my own assessment, I think at least we are paying up to 34 for a degree. Nandi is doing a half of this, which is a sorry state. Number two, Governor, just for clarity, these 1,370 ECD teachers, are all of them on the permanent and pensionable? Number one. Number two, how do you handle? I've seen you have milk school feeding program through provision of milk. How do you handle to ensure that there is retention and attendance by the children? And number three, in my county, the county government said that they were building ECD centers. But when the governor is opening those ECD centers, it's just a rule. But from the approval by the Nandi County Assembly, they passed a development of ECD center where you have a pollution block, you have a classroom, you have a teacher's quarters, and you have a sleeping area, especially for the young ones. So describe to us, and finally, Chair, what is your opinion as a governor, sitting also in Council of Government? Because I saw a circular by the Ministry of Education through the Principal Secretary of Basic Education requiring to abolish separate diploma training for early childhood development education teachers and merge it with diploma in primary teacher education, DPTE. this circular that was issued by Ministry of Education, directing that you need to measure the training of teachers, including the ECD, because to us it is trying to undermine and claw back the issue of devolved functions, because the ECD is a domain of the county government's chair. So I think this issue of, in conclusion, Chair, as a parliament, we must still rethink on this aspect on how we can support our ECD teachers, because I agree with you, these are people who teach, apart from even teaching them to write and read, they teach him even the use of toilet, how to mannerism, how to dress. It's not something, they are more than, in fact, in my own opinion,
we have outsourced our children to ECD teachers.
Yeah, we have outsourced technically. Most of us wake up by 5, you just throw your child into the bus until you see them maybe late in the evening. And they are taught how to be disciplined, how to dress, how to use toilets, chair. I think ECD teachers should be even paid more than us who are in senior public officers, chair. I think these are conversations that should not end here. Even when you table our recommendations, chair, please, let's bring to the attention of the Senate so that we can resolve. Our ECD teachers are now left at the mercy of circulars. You can see the Ministry of Education is telling them now, no. Don't train them independently. Can you merge it with teacher training curriculum of primary school teachers? You know, they have just been thrown. You go, your county is paying differently. You come to Nandi is different. You come to Nairobi is different. And the still living standards of Nairobi is totally different from Bomet, from Nandi, from Homa Bay. So, Chair, I agree with you that we must have a conversation as a country on the role of our ICD teachers going into the future. So, if the governor answers on my two questions, I yield back.
Answer, Governor. I don't know whether you have numbers. What's the starting salary for a driver in the county? The starting salary for a driver.
Okay, a new driver is employed at job group D. And I think there's a salary of around 25,000.
25,000?
Yes.
The only qualification he has is a driving license?
Yes.
And this person has a certificate, has gone to school, is taking care of the most vulnerable. We are paying them 16,000. I don't know who should be in terms of hierarchy. I think we are getting it wrong. And it's something that the Senate will have to work with the Council and with the relevant government agencies. We must change this perception. I know the Education Committee is carrying out some inquiry at the moment. I don't know whether these are some of the things that are being addressed there.
Yes, Chair. Actually, we met some stakeholders from the ECD sector, in addition to the Council of Governor Chair, I believe Governor of Bomet County, on this particular matter.
The gentleman sitting here?
No, sorry. It's not Bomet, sorry, Kericho.
Kericho?
Yes.
Yeah, because he looks surprised.
Yes, on the matter of merging the qualifications for ECD and the pre-primary. And it is a national concern because in our view, we hold the view that is just clawing back on the mandate of governors, and particularly on the mandate of ECD, on the function of ECD. And it's the view of the committee that ECD is a very critical aspect and should not just be left to be merged with whatever qualifications that the PS thinks about. And we have a follow-up meeting, I believe next week, to deliberate more. In fact, the COG is of the view that if the committee is of the view that the PS should withdraw that circular, failure to which the COG goes to court.
But is the committee also addressing the variations in pay across the counties on ECD teachers?
Yes, we are looking into that.
Yeah, we must level up. We must level up. It's unacceptable.
Council, through the chair, just what happened to that scheme of service? Did we pass it for ECD teachers?
Yes, we did pass the scheme of service, but as the governor has said, many a times it's left at the mercy of availability of funds.
Why should that be the case? I'm just wondering. I mean, if it's a scheme of service that has been passed by Parliament, it's like telling me, then we have a scheme of service for teachers under TSC, and the TSC decides we'll pay you depending on availability of funds. I mean,
I know their challenge has been that wage bill, because they say they'll come here and we'll bash them on wage bill. But what is spent on an ECD teacher, what is spent on a doctor or a nurse, should never be caught up in this wage bill conversation, because they are delivering very, very essential service. And I don't know, the accountants are here. In terms of classification of expenditure, we might get to a point where we are saying that expenditure on ECD teachers, expenditure on doctors and nurses should not be used to compute wage bill. So that wage bill becomes the secretariat in the county, rather than because it's not, you know, if you go for capacity building, the input is a capacity builder. So that's like a product. If you go to an ECD center, the input is that instructor. It's not the building. I mean, you can't do anything just with the building and the chairs. The instructor must be there. And so the expenditure, going forward, we must find a way of classifying it as development. That way, we can insist that the minimum, as per the grade of service, must be observed. And I'd be happy if we progress this conversation, because I am embarrassed. And yet, Bomet is one of the counties doing well. But the numbers are still very embarrassing.
Chair, let me congratulate you first for that voice. If there is one person who has been very vocal about the welfare of these teachers, as much as I've not done as expected of me, it is Barchok. Because as you have described, Chair, ECD teacher is more than a teacher. He's a legal officer, he's a health professional, because it is through ECD that we make assessments and channel the children. If we have special needs, they are channeled to the right school, the proper school where they can get education. So he is a social worker, because sometimes they report to school and the first thing that they tell the teacher in the morning is that they didn't take breakfast or they didn't take supper. And out of the small earnings, the Miyaka earnings that the teacher is earning, probably they will purchase kankumu for this child. So I totally agree. In fact, my position has been an ECD teacher should be paid more than a high school teacher, because high school teacher is dealing with adults. But this one is dealing with young children, and these young children depend 100% on this teacher. So I think I totally agree with your sentiments, Chair, that I think we should start a conversation on this issue. Take care of the welfare of this teacher who is giving foundation to our children. And if we have proper treatment, correct treatment, then you can be sure that your child will be in safe hands. So I totally agree, Chair.
So, Chair, why can then we propose that instead of Governor Bomet having that individual personal concern, why can't you escalate that conversation within your colleagues in COG? Then we have a meeting, Chair. colleagues in COG. Then we have a meeting chair